for Tom Steward. Ah, here we go. Black chocobo whistle and the Aether compass. Ah, Mistress Mooson. My lord, the Count much desires to speak with you regarding your time with Lord Artorial and Lord Emanuelaine. If you would remain here for a moment. Tell me, where is Gandalf? For I much desire to speak with him. Sorry, that got stuck in my head.
The hero returns. I cannot thank you enough for saving young Emanuelaine's life. Aye, he told me everything. I've also received letters from both House Zamail and Durandare praising your conduct, and that of House Forton. You've won as much honor, my friend.
My lord.
What is it? Speak.
Pray forgive the intrusion, my lord, but I bring grave tidings. Master Alphino and Mistress Tataru have been detained on suspicion of fomenting heresy.
What?
What? Explain.
They were observed entering a tavern in the lower levels on some half-dozen occasions. There, it is claimed, they made a number of inquiries. Inquiries which brought them into contact with certain elements. 'Twas this which prompted a Knight of the Heavens Ward to demand that they be questioned. Sir Grinno, my lord.
Sir Grinno is a brute. Exceedingly accomplished brute, but a brute nonetheless. Alas, he is also a son of House Zamail. How quickly we forget the petty nature of men. I'd wager your friends are no more than pawns in another of my countrymen's games. Such is the way of things between the high houses.
I've then got to go and save them. Though you have won the hearts and minds of many of my countrymen, there are those who will never be swayed. Men who will dismiss your efforts and resent your successes, even as we celebrate them. 'Tis like that one such member of House Zamail is manipulating Sir Grinno, for he is not a man to dabble in politics of his own volition. He may genuinely believe your friends to be guilty, though I am quite certain his masters know better. Yet the truth will avail us naught if we cannot prove their innocence. You would do well to speak with Sir Emmerich at the congregation of our Knights Most Heavenly. He will know more of these charges. We're also friends of his. Oh, the Forgotten Knight. Oh. Sorry, Lucy, I did want to talk to Sir Emmerich. It has been too long, Tegan. Would that this visit came under happier circumstances. You are come to plead for Master Alphino and Mistress Tataru, I take it. Word of their detainment reached us while I was delivering my report on the Vanu Primal. Truly, I know not which is the more ludicrous, these charges, or that flying feathered whale. That Sir Grinno's accusations are baseless, I have no doubt. Refuting them will be difficult, however, as he is a Knight of the Heavens Ward. I speak of the personal guard of the Archbishop. There we go, Archbishop. The 12 finest knights, only it's 12 knights, the 12 finest knights in all of Ishgard, sworn to serve his eminence alone. Suffice it to say, their testimony is unimpeachable, and I have not the authority to challenge their actions. after all the Scions have done, routing the heretics and defeating Shiva, helping us to defend the steps of faith and drive back the Dravanian horde, after proving themselves true allies on countless occasions, is there naught we can do? I fear there is but one path left to us. We must demand a trial by combat. But of course, in a trial by combat sanctioned by the Inquisition, the victor's claim is judged true regardless of the petitioner's standing. Under Ishgardian law, a trial by combat pits the accuser against the accused. In this instance, Master Alphino and Mistress Tataru would be expected to face Sir Grino and a second of his choosing, another Knight of the Heaven's Ward most like. Two of them? By the Fury, that can hardly be considered fair. Master Alphino's magical talents will not have gone unnoticed, meaning that he will have no choice but to participate. Mistress Tataru, on the other hand, is quite obviously bereft of martial skill, and should be afforded the right to name a champion to fight in her stead. Lest you doubt, I am ready and willing to serve in this capacity, as I am sure is Lord Rochefort. But all here present know that you are the most accomplished warrior among us, and mayhap in the realm at large. If you want me to blow up some knights, I can do it. Then it is settled. I will visit Master Alphino at once and inform him of our intentions. Tegan, meet me at the tribunal when you have made ready. Until then, my friend. I should be high enough level to sort all of this out and win the combat. Although it'll be interesting because it'll be a sage and a black mage versus a paladin and a dragoon. I think is what their classes are, paladin and dragoon.
Hello.
Welcome. Oh, I can't see your name. Oh, Pinky. Welcome, Pinky. Thank you for the follow. For some reason it didn't show me. I need to pop the activity feed out. That's what it is. There we go. That's better. Your name is Crazy Pinky, but I can call you Crazy Pinky. Well, thank you very much, Crazy Pinky, for following. I very much appreciate it. You have caught me about to go do a trial by combat to save Alphino and Tataru from the Temple Knights of the Holy See of Ishgard. Listen carefully, Tegan. When the trial begins, the petitioner will be asked to restate his charges, and the accused invited to respond. Then, in accordance with the law, they will be asked to restate their request for a trial by combat. Oh, thank you. I used my emotes because it's the easier way to do it. I will set up proper ones when I've drawn enough artwork, but as you know, I've got a little bit of a backlog of various art. Once the High Adjudicator acknowledges Mistress Tataru's right to name a champion, that is when you must make your entrance. Oh, I cannot wait to see the look on Sir Grino's face when he sees his true opponent. It will be priceless. More seriously, should you begin to lose heart, look to me in the stands, and I shall cheer you so loud you will wonder how you could ever have contrived to doubt yourself. Now, are you ready? It's level 52, so I'm a little bit under-leveled for this, but hopefully I'll be able to do it. Because I do have Alphino there as well, and he should be able to keep me alive long enough to kill them both, or win the trial by combat. I'm not killing them at all.
We are gathered here today under the watchful gaze of the Fury to
To ascertain the guilt of 2 souls in a trial by combat. Petitioners, step forward. Sir Grinno, for the benefit of all here present, I would ask you to repeat the charges which you have leveled against this man and this woman.
I, Sir Grinno de Zemile, brother of the Heavens Ward, did bear witness to these 2 foreigners consorting with heretics.
Now that is a voice actor straight out of a Warhammer game, if ever I heard one.
Let the accused step forward. Alfino Leveilleur, Tataru, you have heard the charges leveled against you. Will you take up arms to refute Sir Grinno's claim, and thereby prove your innocence in the eyes of gods and men?
I, Alfino Leveilleur, am innocent of this charge, and claim my right to trial by combat.
I, Tataru, am innocent of this charge, but I am no warrior and cannot fight. So, I claim the right to name a champion.
To the old and the infirm, the young and the weak, this right we allow. Very well. Who will stand for this woman?
Yo! And then I get my walk in. Bow, 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 bow. What's up? Very silly.
Just as I was beginning to doubt the efficacy of the Ishgardian justice system. Come, my friend. Let us put an end to this mummer's farce.
You can't call him that. We're in a court. Silly Alphino. Wah! I do find it very weird when Final Fantasy has like moments where in a regular voice acted game there would be like a shout and they just don't have a voice actor there, so the character does like an action.
Render unto us your judgment. Raise up the righteous and cast down the wicked.
Sorry, I didn't want to speak over him. But that's, they do like an action, so like a moment ago this high adjudicator went like, hiya, and threw his hand forward, and you'd expect there to be like a rah or a ah. But there wasn't anything, so it's just him throwing his hand out and his mouth opening, and no sound. It's always a little bit jarring when it happens. Ah. Oh, there are a marauder and a dragoon. Interesting. Magic versus martial. You're the one who's being problematic. Therefore, you're the one I'm going to attack. And also, you're the one attacking Alphino. I've got to protect my healer.
I have my pride.
Thunder on you. Oh, gosh. That. Come on, Alpha, have you got enough time to get out of there? Oh, yes. I just have to break him out of the chain. That's okay then. I can do that. And he doesn't care much about being in the AoEs.
I've got you now. Down with you! Hell's take you!
Oh gosh. Excuse me. Well, now it's 2v1. Alphino can keep me alive while I beat you up. Yeah! Oh, no. There we go. Now I can continue using fire. I've got to remember my black mage rotations. Mostly just keeping an eye on the mana bar. Victory! I mean, we won! The Fury has spoken. Alphino Levier, Tataru, you're hereby acquitted of all charges. Blessed are we who receive of her wisdom and see justice wrought by her divine hand. Petitioners, accused, go forth in peace. The strong never see justice. Delivered from an untimely demise yet again. My thanks as always. Nod. Rochefort. By the Fury, what a splendid victory! To see how you strove in the face of adversity. Two brave young souls bound together by the pursuant bonds of camaraderie. Why, it stirred me to the very depths of my soul. Having been treated to such a rousing spectacle, it seems only right that I present you with a humble token of my admiration. Pray, receive of me this chocobo whistle. He's giving me a black chocobo whistle. With it you may summon a black chocobo, fully trained and ready to fly. Can it fly when I don't have the... Ooh, if I don't have the aetherite, it might just be able to fly anyway. Magnificent, is she not? Strong yet sleek, elegant yet eager. What say you, Tegan? Will you take her for your steed? Yeah, postal chocobo. Or escort chocobo. Lord Horchefon, chocobos are prohibited in the Supreme Sacred Tribunal of Hellenic Inquisitorial Doctrine. Your steed must remain outside. Off you go. You can't bring your bird horse in here. This is a church and a place of law. We did it! We got the Aetheric Compass though. So we can gather Aether Currents now. As I did state earlier, I am ignoring that unless I need to in a map, because I want to do a video where I go and collect them all. And if my black chocobo can fly without them, then I should be able to just leave them all as is. Black chocobos are all well and good, but the true reward for your efforts is the exoneration of your comrades. They shall be released upon the completion of certain minor formalities, which I mean to see personally. In the meantime, pray return to Fortont Manor. The Count has done so already, and will doubtless be eager to discuss the day's events. So I need to go into the Mount Guide. Grab the... Oh, I haven't used the whistle yet. Inventory. Page 2. Chocobo whistle. Then I go into the Mount Guide. There we go. Black Chocobo. Up here. Maybe I swap them? There we go. So now I can use the Black Chocobo whistle to hopefully fly around. Also, there's the start of the Dark Knight quest. Let's go back to the last vigil and to Fortomps Mana. Lovely. Let me inside, please. Thank you. Halone smiles on us yet again, Mistress Mooson, guiding you to victory and setting your comrades free. I confess I did fear for your safety, which is not to say I doubted your prowess, you understand? I merely knew the strength of your opponents. You do have a habit of exceeding my expectations. Besting two of the Heaven's Ward while the city's elite looked on. By the Fury, anyone who hasn't been paying attention to you will surely do so from now on. My lord, we have just received a message from the vault. His Eminence the Archbishop requests the presence of Mistress Mooson. An invitation from the Archbishop? What an honour. A personal summons is indeed a great honour, and given recent events, you would be wise not to delay. Go, Mistress Mooson. We shall speak anon. A priest will be waiting for you outside the vault. Identify yourself to him and he will escort you inside. Off we go to the Vault of the Holy See. To talk to the Archbishop of Halone. And find out how annoyed he's going to be that we just freed 2 prisoners. Or not, because I can't remember if he's actually against us yet or not, or whether he's fine with us and like kind of flip-flops. We are honoured to receive you, Mistress Mooson. This way, please. Oh, is that Amarok's here? Oh, and one of the Knights of the Holy. I was like, who on earth is that dressed in all white?
It is my honor to present to you the Warrior of Light.
I have heard the tales of your many grand endeavors. The Lord Commander has also been most effusive in his praise. I am Thordan VII, Archbishop of the Ishgardian Orthodox Church, and I bade you come here that I might offer my personal apologies. You will forgive me for not calling upon you as courtesy would dictate, but as you can see, my more sprightly days are long behind me. But I digress. Your companions were wrongly accused of heresy and subjected to gross indignities. This, I am sorry to say, was the result of negligence on the part of our nation's protectors. Negligence born of an excess of zeal. Is that not so, Sir Zephyr?
Yes, Your Eminence. Regrettably, it would appear that we of the Heavens Ward were in receipt of erroneous information. Sir Grinno has ever been headstrong. He pressed charges before the truth had been ascertained, for which I most sincerely apologize.
unfortunate misunderstanding born of an earnest desire to serve Ishgard, but one which should never have occurred. For who could doubt the character of those who bested Shiva and drove the Horde from the steps of faith? Not I. That much is certain. That will be all, Sir Zephyrin. I would speak with our guest in private.
Your Eminence? As you wish, Your Eminence. That will be all for today.
He's got the symbol of Gridania above his chair, on the wall. Oh no, that's the houses. It's the holy houses. It's just on a yellow backdrop.
Privacy is a luxury rarely afforded one in my position.
I can imagine.
Now tell me, young lady, what do you know of the Asians?
What do you know of the Asians?
Much and more, I shouldn't wonder. Being the bringer of light. You should know that I myself have met with them, have entertained them as guests even. Those harbingers of chaos and strife offered us power, that we might continue our war against the dragons. I have no intention of aiding their cause, of course, nor less of being their puppet. Yet, were I to refuse them outright, I should learn naught of their true objectives and remain powerless to stop them. Thus have I hearkened to their words with interest and paid lip service to their beliefs, biding my time and preparing for the inevitable conflict. And why do I tell you this? Because there is naught in this world they fear more than the power of the warrior of light.
Okay.
If we are to rid ourselves of these vile interlopers, we must needs work together. With our combined strength, I have faith that we can wrest Eorzea from their grasp and pave the way for a lasting peace. Think on it.
I'm thinking on it. I'm thinking that I definitely should take them out. But we've already found that defeating an Ascian is a great struggle. And we need more white auracite charged to defeat them and capture them. Which is not an easy feat to do, given that it took Moonbreeder basically pouring her entire life into it. Oh, you're back.
There you are. I confess, I was more than a little concerned when I learned that you had been summoned to the vault. What did they want with you? Well, well. A formal apology and an admonishment of those responsible. I see my fears were wholly misplaced. By the gods! The Archbishop freely admits to consorting with Asians. So, their ambitions extend to Ishgard as well.
Hello, Cully. Welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for welcoming me back for my holiday. It was amazing. And I'm happy to be back, though. I'm happy to be back streaming and continuing on with the Final Fantasy story and bringing more magic and hopefully collaborating with other people to make more interesting and cool videos and more cool stream stuff. I have plans, I have ideas, and I'm working on them.
contend with ere long, of that you may be certain. 'Tis but a matter of time. Yet shorn of the support of our missing allies, what can we realistically hope to achieve?
In the midst of all the excitement, I completely forgot to tell you.
What did you forget this time, Tataru?
When I was asking around about the Scions, I heard the most awful rumor. General Rauburn is to be executed for crimes against the Sultanate.
If the Flame General dies, we will lose a staunch ally, and the one man capable of holding the Sultana's assassins to account.
Yeah, that's kind of an important piece of information for you to forget, Tataru. I forgot that one of our friends is going to be killed. How could that just like slip? I suppose you were put on trial for heresy.
Lord Orchiffon was wise to counsel restraint, but this business will brook no delay. We cannot permit this execution to take place. We must save Rauburn.
Yes. Lucky number 7 achievement. I don't even know what that's for. I assume just continuing the story. Though the situation calls for urgency, it would avail us little to charge headlong into Uldar without a plan. Before we can formulate a plan, however, we must first learn how things stand in the Sultanate, which is why I propose that we visit Limsa. Aye, you heard me right. While you were about your altruistic endeavours, I acted as an intermediary in trade negotiations between House Fortoms and a Leminson consortium. During said negotiations, an opportunity to send word to the Admiral presented itself, and I duly seized it. I am happy to report that we yet have a stout ally in Limsa. The Admiral has pledged her full cooperation in the efforts to rescue Rauburn. Accordingly, I have agreed to meet with her, that we might discuss how best to proceed. Naturally, I told her to expect us both. Your presence never fails to embolden our allies, after all. When you arrive in Limsa, make yourself known to Sergeant Xanthiel at Bulwark Hall on the lower decks. He will admit you to the bridge. Now I need to go and register myself back to the Crystalline Foundation so I can hit the return when I come back. Rather than hitting the return and ending up going to the Sea of Clouds, which would do no one any good. Then we can go... Ooh, can the airship take me there? I don't think the airship can take me there. But that's fine, it's not too expensive to teleport. But yeah, how have you been, Callie? I keep asking people way too late about how they've been. I'm just saying, but I just love the story of this game. I keep getting too invested with it. I get distracted by following the story. Lower decks, Bulwark Hall, I think is this way. You've been enjoying Night Rain? Nice! So I've never actually played any Souls-like games, or any Souls games, so I know very little about any of the story or lore about Night Rain. But I've seen a few people playing it, and it seems cool. Like, if you're into those kind of games, it looks really good. I'm just not that into those kind of games, if I'm honest. I got to wait for the NPCs. There we go, Xanthiel. The Admiral has been expecting you. Say the word and I will take you to her. Take me to the bridge. Plays cool guitar solo. Which would not be the bridge. Just throwing that out there.
Friends, 'tis good to see you safe and well. I will admit I had not counted on you seeking, let alone finding refuge within the Holy See, but full glad was I to learn that you had.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. Yeah, one of the games where it's very much like, I enjoy roguelike games where it's very much you just make a run, you do a run and you go as far as you can, and then when you fail you start over. But games where it's like an RPG, like the Souls-like games, I enjoy RPG games where you make a character and you have like certain strategies you can do. But then when you start failing and you just hit a wall of difficulty that you can't overcome without like repeated practice and learning every single move that the enemy does, that's when I'm a bit like, I could do it, but at that point it's me like trying to school myself to get through this game, and I would rather just be enjoying the game. Like, once I've learnt the lore about the boss, I want to fight the boss, beat the boss, and move on. Not fight the boss, fail, fight the boss for like another 20 hours, repeatedly failing while I'm trying to learn all of the bits and pieces to it and get all through the various steps. Like, I get why that is fun for people, not my cup of tea. Unfortunately, because I know that a lot of people like those games, and with it being quite new, it's very much an unpopular thing at the moment. But not for me.
Thankfully, we had allies there who took us under their wing. And theirs was not the only aid we receive, I suspect. When we fled Uldar, we fully expected to become wanted men, known to all and hounded at every turn. Yet that did not come to pass. On the contrary, it would seem the charges against us have not been made public. Might we have you to thank for that, Admiral?
Sharp as ever, Master Elfino. On Marshal Terrapin's urging, the Elder Seed Seer and I demanded that the Syndicate suppress news of the Scion's alleged crimes until such time as irrefutable evidence could be found. Our argument was simple. Lacking proof, to accuse the saviors of the realm of so unlikely a crime would have the people up in arms. In their wisdom, the Syndicate agreed, as you yourself have seen.
Nice.
There is something you should know. Some few days prior to the banquet, the Elder Seedseer and I were summoned for a private audience with the Sultana. There, she revealed her intent to announce her abdication, that she might pave the way for the establishment of an Uldan Republic.
What? But such an announcement would have plunged the entire nation into chaos.
She was well aware of that. 'Twas for fear of what might ensue that she summoned us. Her Grace wanted the Elder Seedseer and I to lend Rauban a helping hand, you see? To aid him in preserving the peace during the transition.
So, having somehow caught wind of her plan, Lolorito and Teleji plotted the Sultana's assassination in the hope of maintaining the constitutional status quo. But they must have known that her death would sow as much chaos as her abdication. Chaos from which Teleji alone might feasibly stand to profit. Surely Lolorito would never knowingly... Could it be? I dare not hope.
Yeah.
The Uldan authorities have yet to announce the Sultana's passing. To allay any suspicion that may arise from Her Grace's absence, they have issued a statement to the effect that she is presently convalescing from illness.
Mayhap they're waiting for a fitting moment to break the news. Or mayhap they know of some other reason to delay.
Me and my friends are big fans of Souls games, so it was good again to just play a Souls game together without all the mods you need to play seamless together. That seems really good. Like, I know there's been a lot of drive for wanting to play that kind of game with people in like a cooperative sense. Because, yeah, what better way to have the difficult, like that wall when you hit the difficulty and are like, how on earth do I push through this? I just have to keep trial and erroring into all of the situations and see what I can avoid and see how far I get. And having other people there to motivate you to do that and to like be able to bounce ideas off each other and look out for different things, and that seems much more interesting than just being like, I now have to grind for 20 hours to learn this entire fight inside and out to then get past it and then immediately hit the next wall. It seems much more interesting to do it with people, which I guess is how MMOs work. Like, they have like the whole raiding function, and when the new raid comes out, the top groups go off together and try and figure out how to win it. And that's where the interest comes from. But that part of like the whole raiding scene and like the high-end levels of MMO play never really interested me. I prefer the casual fun running around. That and learning all the lore tidbits. Like, learning about the world building is what interests me.
Something else has been bothering me, Admiral. I was dismayed to learn that General Raoban is to be executed. Yet upon hearing the news, I could not help but wonder why he had been kept alive for so long. Pray mistake not my meaning. I am, of course, overjoyed that our friend still draws breath, and that he might yet be saved. But if his enemies truly wish to eliminate him, they could have done so immediately. I see no reason for this delay.
Yeah, I've heard it has really good lore. Like, I've seen some of the Souls bosses, and like seeing their character designs are crazy and very cool. But then like learning little bits about them, like I've only done it on a couple of the bosses, but like learning little bits and pieces about them just through the fact that I have friends who play them. It always seems very cool how like in depth these games actually go, and the fact that there's been like, is it 4 or 5 of them now? Is it 4 or 5 of them? Like Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and now Night Rain. That's 5. I don't know if I've missed any. Probably. But yeah, like, the fact that there's only been 5 games and they've already done, like, huge amounts of lore. And for a game that is an RPG, that's really good. The only, like, Final Fantasy, similarly, has the base game Heaven's Ward, which is the expansion I'm playing at the moment, where if someone came into this and just started reading, like watching this stream from now, and I wasn't explaining anything, they'd probably be very lost about what on earth is going on. And why. And this is literally expansion 2, and like, not even one level into it yet. This is the start of the first expansion. So when it gets to like Endwalker, which is the 5th expansion, it gets really crazy. And there's some really cool stuff that's been built up for so much that when we then get to Dawn Trail, which is then where they kind of start off a new arc of the game, people are like, but all the lore we learnt, why is all of it not matter anymore? And it's like, it does. It matters. It's just, this is the next stage. So we're kind of putting it to one side and being like, that's not what you're doing anymore. You're still recognised as that hero, but that's not what we're doing. The plot moves on. Because that's how an MMO has to do it when it does expansions. 3,000 hours in Final Fantasy. I've probably got similar, if not more. I've been playing since Heaven's Ward originally came out. And I've been playing... I don't play as much now that I stream it. I kind of play it on and off a little bit, because I'm playing solely on stream. And my other characters that I have, I don't play on stream, so I don't really play them anymore. But I'm quite happy to start up a new character and run through the full story and then start doing all the extended stuff and just have it in my back pocket for whenever I'm like, I have a stream and I don't know what to do with it. New Final Fantasy stuff came out though, so we can jump on that. But in order to reach that point, I have to get through the story, which is why I'm doing these streams of just like, push through the story and do the stuff.
Following his capture, Raoban had been held in the Marasaja pit within Uldar. In recent days, however, he has reportedly been moved to an unknown location. Queerly, 'twas not the brass blades who spirited him away either, but a band of soldiers decked in blue.
The Crystal Braves.
Oh, ooh, the venom. For anyone who doesn't know, the Crystal Braves is a freelancing martial force that Alphino set up to assist the Scions in generally bringing peace to the realm. And they're who betrayed us and framed us for executing the Sultana, assassinating the Sultana.
Aye. If I read the winds aright, the arrangement between Lord Lolorito and the Braves has come under strain. At any rate, if we're to rescue Raoban, we'll have to find him first. And you'll be glad to hear that I have already entrusted the task to those best able to see it done. Our friends of Doma.
Ooh, nice. So we have a small group of Doman allies. Doma is the land that is you go and visit in Stormblood, which is the expansion after this one. It is the Japanese-inspired area, effectively. Asian-inspired area. With like samurais and ninjas and like big sweeping plains and things. But the few people that came over, the few Domans that we have, are all ninjas, and they are very good at find and kill. Seek and destroy. That's the... So they're going to be good at finding people. So I'm sure they've probably found Raoban already. Raoban's survival is vital to the Eorzean alliance. We can ill afford to lose him. But I cannot send troops to into Uldar. 'Twould spell the end of the alliance, and war, like as not. If there is to be a rescue, it falls to you and yours to attempt it. I would not have it any other way, Admiral. It was I who founded the Crystal Braves, and I who must take responsibility for their actions. Spoken like a true leader, Master Alphino. By way of a first step, you should seek out our Doman contact. You will find her among the frontier hands at Revenant's Toll, working in a kitchen. Okay, off to Revenant's Toll then, I guess. There we go. And just teleport straight there. Speed up the little bit. Okay, so I think I'm going to go find out where Raoban is, and then we might take a little break so that I can go and have some food, some lunch, and so that everyone else can feel free to have a bit of a stop and a snack and a little bit of a break. I will throw back on some of the Final Fantasy Realm Reborn music, so that you can I will also drop back to my break screen. And yeah, we will go talk to the Doman contact first. Marina's House of Splendors, and it's upstairs is where the restaurant is. I think it's upstairs where the restaurant is. Yes, kitchens. That's a storeroom. Kitchen should be through here. Yeah, there we go. Higiri! Mistress Tegan, I knew in my heart that you were safe. But to see you again in the flesh, words cannot well express my relief. Even as the victory feast was taking place, the Crystal Braves turned upon us and took the rising stones by force. Amid the chaos, some few of my compatriots and I were able to slip away unnoticed. Since then, we have remained in Revenant's Toll, keeping watch over the mutineers while awaiting your return. You have done well by us, and we Domans do not soon forget our debts. We swear to do all within our power to aid you. Shortly before you arrived, I received word from Limsa Laminsa that you were searching for General Rauban. As the Admiral will have informed you, he was recently moved from his cell in the Murasaja pits. At the same juncture, Yu Yu Hase and the 3rd Unit were observed leaving the Rising Stones. This can be no simple coincidence. Their purpose, we believe, is to escort the Flame General to the scene of his execution. Suffice it to say, we have people shadowing the 3rd. If you would join the hunt, pray seek out Daware at Highbridge, where I too am bound. Highbridge is off in Uldar, isn't it? In Thanalan, yep. Search for Rauban, let's teleport to Camp Drybone as the quick route. Nice and simple. Oh, sorry. Just went back and read your messages, Callie. You said you play one MMO. Is that Final Fantasy, or do you play other... Is it like Guild Wars, or RuneScape, or World of Warcraft, or Knights of the Old Republic? I'm trying to think of other MMOs. There's a lot that I've missed. Black Desert Online? You played the one from Amazon? I don't know if I know that one. One from Amazon? Nope. Hi, Daware. I have been expecting you. Time is of the essence, so I shall be direct. Yu Yu Hase and his men are bound for Halatali. We believe that this is where they intend to carry out the execution. Hozan is presently keeping watch over the entrance. Let us make haste and join him. New World. Was it any good? I suppose you can't really compare it to other MMOs, but was it good to other games you've played? Oh, right, I forgot I can fly here. I've been going around Ishgard and forgot I could fly. It was okay. Fair enough. There's quite a lot of MMOs that are like passable and like have mechanics and are like, you can certainly play the game and it functions and there is a leveling system and there are different classes and it has all the trappings of a classic MMO, but there's just nothing exciting or unique about it. The exciting or unique thing I find that draws me about Final Fantasy XIV is, firstly, Lalafels are amazing. Being a tiny little potato mouse person is fantastic. Secondly, the fact that one character can have every single class. So, for example, I am a black mage, I am a white mage, I am a culinarian, I am a fisher, and I am a botanist. And I can change jobs that easily. I can just be like, I'm going to play black mage now. Oh, actually, I need to go and gather something. Let me just swap to my fisher and go fishing. Oh, actually, this person that I've just run past has been passed out on the floor because they've been killed by an enemy. Let me quickly swap to a healer and resurrect them with the raise spell. And then let me swap back to whatever other class I'm doing. That's part 2. Point 3 is generally the community. Because it is a game that you have to buy, that also has a subscription, it weeds out a lot of the people who just want to play a game and have no real aim in what kind of game they want to play. Which isn't to say it's a bad thing, it's just that's where you got a lot of people who are like, I want to just go and troll people. And all the like slightly toxic players Because no one is going to buy a AAA game and then start paying a subscription for however many months that it takes them to get to endgame to just troll some people or be a toxic player. The toxic part of this community comes from the people who are way too invested in the raiding scene and kind of enforce other people to be like, you have to put in this much effort minimum. But then if you're in the raiding scene, that's kind of what you expect. The rest of the game, wonderful community. Like, the worst thing another player has ever done to me is ignored me. And it's like, okay, I get worse than that in real life. That's fine. And you can make random, like, I've made whole groups of friends where I've just randomly been, like, walking around the town, and someone will just, like, emote at me. And you emote back, and you have a little, like, little dance party or something silly. And then you, like, one of you pulls out the bard class and starts playing some music. And then just, you gather a little crowd. And then you all just, like, start talking in the chat. And you run off and do, like, a fate or a dungeon or whatever else it might be that you are just, like, the reason I waved, like, I think in that instance the person who waved at me was like, I just waved at you because you looked a little bit lost. Did you want a hand getting somewhere? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm trying to find this dungeon. And they were like, oh, I know where that is. They pulled out a 2-person mount, invited me to their party. I jumped on their mount. They flew me to the dungeon. Although they didn't fly me to the dungeon because this was a long time ago. This was back in actual A Realm Reborn when Heaven's Ward was like a week from release. And I was trying to find where... I was trying to find where Stone Vigil was. Because I was running around Coerthas being like, I am so lost. And I ran through Camp Dragonhead and they found me there. And they flew me over to Stone Vigil and were like, this is the dungeon. No, it was Zemail Darkhold. That's why, because it doesn't have a quest that takes you to it. Or it does, but like, I had already done that, but not entered the dungeon. And I couldn't remember where it was, so I was just randomly running around Coerthas being like, I know it's on this map somewhere. But they flew me back there, and then they were like, do you want a hand doing the dungeon? So me and them, I think we both partied up and then went into the dungeon, and we found other people, and then we just started chatting, running through the dungeon. And then from there we became friends. And I still have them all on Discord, which is just like really wholesome, nice friendships. They're very odd people, but it's very fun. Yeah, and it's stuff like that, where it's just, you can just make friends by just being a bit of an oddball in this game. So that's point number 4 as to why I like this MMO. Was that point number 4? Lalafell, point 1. The ability to swap classes, point 2. I guess I bulked the community into 1 point, but really it's the lack of that toxic player base and then the friendliness of everyone else who's here are kind of 2 separate points. So I can consider it 4. But yeah, like, I don't even think I need to make a 5th point. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a whole like housing system, and there's certain areas where there's houses, and if you've got like a big grand company of people you've just met and get along with in game, you can all just run around and do stuff together. But then occasionally, like, grand companies will just throw events. Like, they'll just have a bunch of bards from their guild all playing music and like setting up as like full bands, and like they will have like giving out food items and make it like a proper party, and it's very fun. It's very weird, but very fun. But yeah, it's just like, the community in general is just lovely. And so that's another reason why I love this game. But those are the reasons that get... Oh, and then I guess technically the 5th one is because it's Final Fantasy. The lore is phenomenal, because obviously every single Final Fantasy game is a standalone game like when Final Fantasy VII came out, it was multiple discs on the PS2, which was crazy for the time, and it was just like, how on earth have we got this much game in one installment? And Final Fantasy XIV is the same. Like, it's their second foray into MMOs, and I got into it because I heard about the Heaven's Ward expansion coming out, and one of my friends played it. And they were telling me all about, like, this is the sort of stuff that goes on in game. If you wanted to come in, there's a free trial, you can come and join it, and then we can get some stuff, because if I invite people, I get some stuff. No, so Final Fantasy games are all separate. Final Fantasy XIV, which is this one specifically, is an ongoing, long-running form story, but each expansion feels different, but makes callbacks to the previous ones. So in a similar way to like Final Fantasy X has Final Fantasy X and then Final Fantasy X-2, in which Final Fantasy X is the classic Final Fantasy, you are a hero, you go save the world. And then Final Fantasy X-2 is like, cool, you saved the world, and then it carries on, and you just get to keep experiencing what happens with the world and what goes on afterwards. And then it goes into like its whole big story arc. It's that sort of thing, where the base game of Final Fantasy A Realm Reborn was this big, huge overarching plot that led up to the culmination of you stopping Gaius Van Belsar from taking over Eorzea with the Empire, and defeated La Habrea, who is an Ascian, aiming to cause chaos and sow evil for unknown reasons. It then goes into Heaven's Ward, which is the expansion we're playing at the moment, where we go into Ishgard. And a lot of the early game is like running around, discovering Ishgard, doing stuff like this. But then we get missions like this, where it's a callback to the original game, where between the base game and Heaven's Ward, they do like little update expansions. So like I think currently we're on 7.3, I think is either just come out or it's the next one to come out. I think I'm a little bit behind. But that's post-Dawn Trail content that's just being released. And the post-Heaven's Ward content was all, or the post-A Realm Reborn content was all stuff about, like, the assassination of the Sultana, going and defeating Midgard Sorma, who's reappeared, and I now have as a pet. All these little bits and pieces where it was just like a few dungeons and duties that get you some cool stuff in the downtime while they're working on the next big expansion. They do all these little releases to kind of lead into that story, which then led us to being exiled to Ishgard, which is where the Heaven's Ward story picks up. And kind of gave a bit of a prelude into, like, the Ishgardians are fighting against the dragons, and that's why why Midgard Sorma is, like, a big problem, because that means all the dragons are getting past the Ishgardians, and that means we now need to defeat Midgard Sorma, which we do, and then bring him along, because he's like, I'm actually really interested in what's happening. I've been out of the loop for a long time. But yeah, and then that leads into, like, Raoban being captured and us running off. And then you then get into the next expansion, and it has little callback missions like this, where you're like, what's happened to General Raoban? Because we just kind of left him and vanished into the next expansion. And then it kind of like leads back to, oh, will we go and save him? And then he comes back into the expansion, and the story will continue to progress. And then there'll be like post-Heaven's Ward stuff that will lead into going to Stormblood and going to Doma. And then it'll be all the Doman stuff. And it will still have callbacks to all the Heaven's Ward and a lot of the unanswered plot points. And all of this then culminates into Shadowbringers expansion and Endwalker expansion, which are expansions 4 and 5, and they are the big two expansion culmination on the story in this arc that is kind of starting with Heaven's Ward. Like, Heaven's Ward is very much like, there are heretics who are trying to aid the Dravanians, and this is the outcome, which will happen, so I'm not going to spoiler it. But it's also like, as we just witnessed with Thordan the Seventh, he's been talking with the Ascians, and it's all about what the Ascians have been doing. So, A Realm Reborn is very much just like, Lahabrea is an Ascian, is trying to cause chaos, we do not really know why. He doesn't really talk about it. In the post A Realm Reborn, we learn out there are multiple Ascians, and they are all a big problem, and we managed to defeat one of them, and learn how that's possible. Because Lahabrea isn't defeated, because when you kill an Ascian, they go back into this like mid-void state, and then reform and come back again. But we managed to capture one and defeat it. And then they're talking to Thordan, and we learn how that all plays out in this expansion, and that all culminates in the Ascian story as the big, like, final arc over Shadowbringers and Endwalker. Anyway, try not to spoil too much while also explaining why Final Fantasy's story is very extensive and kind of crazy. You come at a good time, my friends. But moments ago, the traitor Ilberd arrived and entered Halatali. From this, we may be certain that General Alban is being held within. Good. There is no time to lose. General Alden may be executed... Right, he's called Alden Rauban. Or Rauban Alden? I think it's Rauban Alden. General Alden may be executed at any moment. You must enter Halatali and free him from his captors. Please see to your preparations, and tell me when you're ready to proceed. One of our own will accompany you inside. Unfortunately, because of that big rant, Rauban is going to have to wait. So I'm going to go on a little break now. We'll call it half an hour, where I'm going to go eat and use the restroom. So feel free to take a pause, go grab some food, hydrate, stretch, go for a little bit of a walk, get some fresh air, use the toilet if you need, and then I will be back in about half an hour. I'll throw up some A Realm Reborn music for you to all listen to, and then we will come back. So I will see you all then.